Hello everybody, this is Gregory with How I Lost Over 100 Pounds and I've kept it off for 30 plus years, where there should be no hesitation in your weight loss and weight maintenance. Today we're going to talk about different sweeteners and kind of rank them from best to worst. Now before we begin, if you need help with weight loss, contact me through the Clarity FM link found here in the episode notes. Also check out my website, which has hundreds of articles and recipes, my 2 books which you can find on Amazon, my podcast, The Awakened Man and The Cinema Rag, both of which you can find on Apple and Spotify. And lastly, if you appreciate my content, there's a link for PayPal. Now, we know sugar's a problem in America. This is the thing that's really making us fat and leading to diabetes and cardiovascular problems. And we've talked about in previous episodes about Ancel Keys saying in the past that carbs were, back in the 60s and 70s, this fight between fat being bad and carbs being fat. And ultimately, Ancel Keys, in his bought-off studies, convinced the American medical establishment that fat was bad and that carbs were good. And look what it's led to now. So certainly, we know that we shouldn't be eating a lot of sweets, but we do eat a lot of sweets. And so let's do a quick video here on ranking the sweets from best to worst. Obvious worst ones are going to be high fructose corn syrup. You find this typically in sodas, and a lot of packaged goods will have high fructose corn syrup or the code words for high fructose corn syrup, which can be maltodextrin, dextrose, all these things like that. So this is super refined and it's obesogen and it's not good for us. So try to eliminate that. Next to that would just be good old sugar. I mean, look, cane sugar is more expensive than high fructose corn syrup because corn is subsidized in the American by the government. And so you've seen soda makers, for example, unless you're getting like Mexican Coke and some other ones, they don't even put in cane sugar in sodas. They put in high fructose corn syrup. But just sugar itself doesn't give you any nutritional benefits. It's just calorically high and leads to a lot of pernicious medical effects. Now, so we know we got to get rid of that. What about some of the other sweeteners? I would tell you that the more natural, the better. So stevia. Stevia is used by a lot of people. I would tell you, look at the studies on stevia and how it was actually banned by the FDA for some time. And the stevia that we eat is super refined, and that is problematic. If you ever get stevia in the raw, most people can't even taste it. They're like, this is disgusting. So it's super refined, but certainly it's better than, cane sugar. Blackstrap molasses, manuka honey. These are natural sweeteners. These are great, but again, use them sparingly because they do have a lot of calories, but at least they're natural. Aspartame. Stay away from Splenda, which is sucralose. Stay away from aspartame, which is typically sold as NutraSweet. Artificial sweeteners are so bad for us. I mean, there's tons of studies. I do need to do a separate episode on Dr. Olney doing all these studies in the 70s showing that aspartame is bad for us, leads to seizures in rats and in mice, leads to cancer, all these things. And then they eventually got the FDA approved it because Donald Rumsfeld was the CEO. Yes, that Donald Rumsfeld was the CEO of Cereal, the company that had aspartame. And when Reagan became president, he fired the FDA commissioner that was against it and brought in a new FDA commissioner who quickly approved it to be used in our food and drinks. Splenda is no better. Stay away from anything fake. I would tell you, what do I do with sweeteners? I never add sweeteners. The only sweeteners I add, like in my yogurt bowls or smoothies, is cinnamon. Cinnamon is natural. Cinnamon essentially is non-caloric. Cinnamon has been studied to be good for heart health and lowering your cholesterol. So sprinkle the cinnamon in your foods. Instead of drizzling obviously, instead of putting 6 teaspoons of sugar in your coffee, which we shouldn't be doing because, again, just eliminate sugar as much as you can in real life. But try to sprinkle a lot of cinnamon in because cinnamon is a natural sweetener. It's great for diabetics or pre-diabetics, and it sweetens your food. So try to use cinnamon in as much stuff as you can. And the last thing is, if you really want to avoid sugar, again, the middle aisle foods, I mean, they're just loaded with them. The granola bars, the cookies, the donuts, the danishes, the cereals, all these things we talk about. So if you're eating like a paleo diet or a modified paleo diet where if God didn't make it, don't eat it, you're really going to avoid a lot of these sugars and these fake sugars. And we've talked about in some kind of superfoods that are sugar laden that you have to watch out for. Dark chocolate's great, but you got to get 90% dark chocolate. Almond butter is great, but don't get the flavored ones. Greek yogurt is great, but don't get the flavored ones. So you always have to be kind of vigilant as to what's out there and how they're trying to con you. But as a whole, if you don't have a sweet tooth, God bless you. And if you need to eat something sweet, we always have nature's candy, which is fruit. We have an episode here on the best fruits to eat in terms of the glycemic index. So use those. And some people like dates. The Middle Easterners, Jesus used to eat dates. Dates are great too. If you want to put dates in, let's say, your smoothies to sweeten it, or if you just need something light and sweet, you can eat some dates, and that's great too. Guys, post in the comments. Let me know how you like to sweeten your food or how much sweet you have in your diet. Until next time, take care, God bless, and pray.